What's inside? Let's take a peek. So I'm gonna turn this on and we're gonna see what happens. You might wanna back up, Holly. Hey there you go, folks. I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Modern Homestead, where you might notice this new hog fence here that I've set up. You may think it's just kind of not that special, just a hog fence, but I'm actually pretty proud of this thing because instead of using a regular solar charger like I do with all of my other fences, this thing's actually charged with a plug-in charger that I ran a ground wire. I have 2 3-foot long ground wires on the other side of the barn, and it has like a hot lead here. I actually had some help getting this thing set up after a talk with my buddy Brian of the Flannel Farms, which I'd highly encourage you to check out his channel. You can find the link in the description below. He helped me kind of get things situated over the phone, but I've got this thing set up just recently and I still haven't tested it out yet. I'm about to, but before I do that, there's some things I need to take care of. Let's go see what's going on. So it's really nice. It's definitely spring. It's windy, a little chillier than I'd like it to be, but it's spring, man. There's a blue sky. I don't see any clouds, maybe a few. We're ready. We're ready for spring after this winter. We're gonna start talking about the garden here in the next few weeks. Those of you that have watched the channel for a long time may remember we started planting a little too early. I think we started planting in mid-April last year, and we had almost our entire garden knocked out. We didn't have cold frames or a little mini greenhouse like we do now. So we lost a lot of plants last year because we planted too early. So I'm not gonna make that mistake again. However, one thing I do need to do, because as you guys know, we're expecting pigs here pretty soon, is clean out my barn. I want the pigs to be able to access their pig pen in here. And there's actually a nice little gate. This thing will come out and actually go to right about here, right before the door. So we could potentially back up a trailer, let the pigs out. There's a gate here, and they'll just go right into their pig pen. But as you can see, there's a ton of junk that's collected here in the barn corridor. Last year when I moved here, I was really extra persnickety about cleaning the junk out of my barn. But as I've lived here and as I've done some homesteading, I quickly learned like a barn is good for storage, and that's okay. You don't need to feel guilty for putting stuff in your barn. That's what it's there for. That being said, this baby still needs to be cleaned out. And there's actually a place that I haven't really gone to a lot on my homestead that I think might be a perfect candidate for storing a lot of this stuff. Let's go check it out. Hey, Mom.
Hi, honey.
What you doing?
Making an apple pie.
You're making an apple pie, but what are you doing right now?
Feeding my
all
babies.
These apple peels.
That's right. Fighter here. Fighter here. Here you go, Fighter. Fighter's my baby.
You know, they're sometimes a little spoiled and they don't go for veggies or fruits, but it seems like they're enjoying these apple peels.
Well,
Fighter agrees.
they will get the remainders of the apple pie, too.
Enjoy, guys. Thank you, Mom. Before I show you what I was going to show you, I did want to give you guys an update on the turkeys. They're living outside full time now. Last time I talked to you guys about the turkeys, we had 5. We had lost 1, unfortunately. We lost another one, so we're down to 4 turkeys. However, these guys have been hanging in there pretty well. I think these guys are going to make it. The last one we lost, it was actually when we had the brooder set up inside, so it wasn't like because it was cold or anything. I just think there's maybe a higher attrition rate on survival, or not a higher attrition rate. The attrition rate is different with turkeys than it is with chicken chicks. I don't think their survival rate is as high. So we started with 6 turkey chicks, and now for a couple weeks we've had 4 turkeys that have remained. And these guys all seem really healthy. I think they're gonna be just fine. They've been living outside for a couple, maybe like 2 weeks now. They've been living outside, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks they've been living outside, and they seem to be doing all right. I still have their heat lamp set up for them in the evenings, and on days when it's kind of windy and a little bit chilly like today, I've got it turned on. But they're doing pretty good. They're living in the meat chicken tractor here, as you can see, and I'll probably keep them in here for another month, maybe 2 months, and then I'm going to figure out where to put them full time. I think I might have them live with the chickens. There's a lot of talk and a lot of concern around putting turkeys with chickens and that there's certain diseases that can spread. It appears that it's a regional thing, and I've talked to a lot of people in this area, brought up like, hey, do you keep your turkeys with your chickens? And almost to the person, every single person that I've talked to from this area that has turkeys and chickens, they've just been like, yeah, we keep our turkeys and chickens together. They're fine. They don't have any issues. So I think it might be a regional thing where you worry about some sort of disease that's spread between turkeys and chickens, because a lot of people around here don't have any issues with turkeys and chickens living together. Maybe that's just the few people I've talked to, but I might give it a try. I might have these guys live separate. I haven't decided yet. I've got a little bit of time left to decide. If you go way back in the archives, you might remember me talking about some of these old sheds and old structures that are back in the kind of the backwoods, the woods that separate our back pastures and our front pasture and our homemaker. There's these old structures. There's this thing, which I think used to be somebody's office. It looks like there's a drafting desk in there. And boy, oh boy, is that thing... Has Mother Nature really took her toll on this thing? I think since the last time I've been out here, it's been a few months actually. This has fallen even further. And eventually my plan is to take the tractor and just bulldoze the thing, knock it down. I'm gonna need to get a dumpster hired to come out here and just load up that dumpster with all this junk. There's some of this old construction stuff that's kind of rotted away. I'd like to clear all of this brush out. It's gonna be a job. I might need to hire somebody to take care of some of it, but I'd like to get that job taken care of because this could be a really cool area. However, there's a shed. Now, the thing about this shed is that this shed's in great condition, even the outside of it. There's some vines and stuff and some trees around it that do need to be cut. I think this old tree, this cedar next to it is probably fine. But this shed's in great condition. This shed can store a lot of stuff. What's inside? Let's take a peek. A lot of old furniture. Is this furniture in good condition? No, it is not. Can this furniture be fixed up? Kind of doubt it. Maybe it can. Maybe some of the pieces can. Some of it looks antique. It's not doing any good just sitting in here. I'd like to move this old furniture out. What I'm going to do with this old furniture depends on how bad it is. This thing is falling over. I'll probably break it apart and burn it. Some of it might look nicer. I could maybe put it up on Craigslist. I'm not sure. Regardless, I'd like to store some stuff in here. It's nice in here. You can do a lot with this shed. But in order to start doing stuff with this shed, I need to take all this junk out. I'm going to try and do that today. Maybe my dad can help me. And I can start putting stuff from the barn in here and stuff that we have in the back porch, what we call the pub, so we can actually start using that area and start putting that stuff in here. So let's go see if I can track down Dad and maybe he can help me move some of this junk out. Hey, Dad.
Oh, hey.
You've come here to help me move some furniture.
That's me. I'm moving,
So
man.
I was telling Dad, kind of explaining what we're gonna do. I want to take that furniture that's in there and temporarily put it next to this structure that's falling down. Mother Nature is taking down for us. And that will eventually get a dumpster out and take care of properly.
So the stuff that's in here is not redeemable?
I don't think it is. I mean, and if you want any of it, you're certainly free to take some. There's one shelving unit in there that I think it's pretty light, that I think might be redeemable. But otherwise, the stuff doesn't look like it's in good shape. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces here.
I had forgotten about all this stuff. I wonder if there's like... Well, that's rotted out in the bottom.
The thing is, I've looked through this stuff. Most of the stuff's rotted through pretty badly.
And it looks like the veneer's coming off.
Yeah, the one that looks like it might be salvageable is this guy right here.
Yeah.
That looks in fairly good shape. You know, dust it off, clean it up, throw some paint over it. That might be some good. I think that's a mirror. For now, I just want to move it here. Like I was saying earlier, dumpster it or burn it here soon. It's one of the nice things about having a bit of land is you're not concerned about storing this stuff on your front lawn and the neighbor's looking askance at you. My neighbor is my mom and dad. And I don't think they're going to look askance at me. I hope not.
No.
So what do you think, Dad? Do you think we can move these over a couple feet?
Yeah, maybe. I guess depending upon how heavy they are, I could maybe grab the dolly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's give it a shot. Well, I got myself a new shed. It's not the prettiest structure in the world, but it's nice. Man, this is nice. I'm gonna get some lights in here, maybe some sort of lantern, some battery operated lantern that I can hang from one of these nails up here. And boy, there's a lot of space in here. I can stack stuff up here. I'm excited. Who'd have ever thought that a simple shed, a simple space like this would make me so excited? Well, after homesteading for over a year, stuff like this is a really, really big deal, and it makes me very excited. This shed, despite how dirty it was inside until we cleaned it out, is solid. It's in really good shape. So I'm gonna start loading stuff in here momentarily, but before I do that, I wanted to test out that fence. I'm sure you guys would like to see whether my pig fence is even working. We need that thing to work to get pigs. So let's go check it out. As you can potentially surmise, I'm actually not holding the camera right now. My dear wife, Holly, is holding the camera for the very first, the inaugural testing of the hog fence. We're gonna see how strong it is, and hopefully it's strong enough to warn those pigs off from testing it. You wanna go check it out? She nodded. So those of you off camera, Holly just nodded. Let's go check. All right, so I think I showed it earlier in the video, but this particular fence is charged. Right now it's not on. I've got this little tester charge thing here, charge tester thing here. This is not charged by a solar charger. This is actually a plug-in charger. It should kick out 2.6 joules, which I think is pretty strong in terms of electric fences. I know those solar charges, I think those only kick out half of 1 joule, so 0.5 joules. This kicks out 2.6. Again, the thinking here is that we want these pigs to stay as far away from this fence as possible. So I'm gonna turn this on, and we're gonna see what happens. You might wanna back up, Holly. It's blinking. And I hear it.
Yep.
So this thing only reads up to 8,000 kVs, which I think this is supposed to be more. So ideally we want this to max out. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's even, I'm not even touching the fence, and it's reading at 4. I bring it up close, and let's walk around. You'll note that the fence is up off the ground. The hog fence that you buy from Premier One, that's intentional because pigs like to root, and you don't want the bottom wire to be too deeply embedded in the ground and picked over or covered up with weeds and stuff. So they actually lift the bottom strand of this fence off the ground by a few inches. Now you can see there's a little bit of it running here, and I may need to go through and weed whack some of these some of this scrub down a little bit, but by and large most of the fence is off the ground. Oh yeah, that's hitting hard. Like I'm a good foot away and it's still reading. I bring it in close, boom. So as you can see, the area that I've marked out for the pigs is pretty small. Eventually I'd like to extend this fence so that it covers the entire lean-to. And I actually have another roll. This is a 100-foot fence, and right now it's doubled up on itself. The first move after they get used to the fence is to stretch this out so the entire lean-to is surrounded by fence, and they've got a little more room to roam. Eventually I'm going to get 2 of these fences and stretch it out back here. And so they'll have some of this field, some of this grassland to work through and root through. And so the plan is eventually is to start kind of walking them back into the woods. Eventually I want them to be forest pigs. And I'll get wire that can run out that far, but eventually we're gonna have them out there, but I'm gonna work them down away from the lean-to. So the first month, maybe 2 months, they'll be in this general area, but eventually they're gonna be worked down into the woods. The main thing, the most important thing, is getting them used to that fence, which, as you can see, is hitting really hard.
Is that why you're starting them with such a small area?
I'm starting them with such a small area because I want to make sure that they come in contact with the fence early and often. If the fence is way out there, they might not even wander over to the fence. I want to make sure they know.
They learn it quick.
They know what's going on with this fence day one. As soon as they're out here, they know this fence equals bad news. And eventually it'll get to the point where they won't even need to challenge the fence. I know of some homesteaders that the pigs are so good with the fence that they never even bothered to turn the electricity on the fence because the pigs are so scared of it. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point. Better safe than sorry. I'll probably always have a charger on it. But the fact is that they're going to start in this small area. It's going to get bigger, and eventually it's going to work back into the woods. Well, I'm going to get to work starting to clean out that barn and the pub area over there. But a lot got done today, and I'm very excited about two things: that shed and this fence. Three things, actually. Make it three things. I'm excited about spring coming here because we're going to get this garden going here in the next few weeks, and we've got some cool ideas up our sleeves. So you guys might want to stick around and stay tuned for some pretty cool garden-related things coming down the pipeline. Thanks for hanging out with me and us today, guys, and until we see you next time, remember, as always, slowly.